everybody, welcome to episode 6 of Composing with Jerry. We're still working on the Brazen Serpent. And this is later, I usually have these ready to release on Sunday mornings, but I have to tell you, this has been a struggle this week with this. I wish I could say that I had all of this all fleshed out and this whole scene with the children of Israel getting bitten by the snakes all done and ready to move on to the next section, but I don't. I really thought this would be the easy part, but I was deceived by myself about that. So the thing I struggled with at first was I knew in all this cacophony that was going to be happening with all these orchestral effects, I wanted to have a musical element that was going to kind of be a cohesive thing that, whether it was melodically or rhythmically, be shared throughout each section of the orchestra while all this other stuff is happening. So that we can still keep it musical and move and build and build and build to a climax to where we are now having the children of Israel beg Moses to pray. So that was the first struggle, is coming up with the right melody, the right rhythms, the right everything with that. So but I finally do like that part of it, and I discovered that MuseScore does allow me to reproduce some of those orchestral effects that I was going to have to use the sample libraries for, just in the way it's notated and the articulations that you use. So that also was I spent a good day working on all the different things I could do to try to keep it within MuseScore. So then I started doing the actual little bed, and I think I discovered the reason why this has been so frustrating for me, and it's not the musical elements, it's not the music itself, it's my pacing. I'm taking far too long to get to where I want to be, and I'm taking far too long to build up to where I want to be. So I think that, and we'll discuss this in the video you're going to watch right now, but yeah, it's a struggle when you have a lot of the right elements, but your pacing is too stretched out. And so I need to, in speech and in music, I need to learn the virtue of brevity. So let's go ahead and watch this, and then we'll discuss it afterward. See, the hard part about showing this to you is that this probably is not going to be what's going to be there, but I will show you my efforts to this point, and I'm not going to pick it piece by piece, but I will say that I was able to replicate this pizzicato. If you remember from last week when I was going through some of the sample library effects that I wanted to use, one of them sounded something kind of similar to this. Now it sounds random, and for the most part, the pitch selection is, but the timing is made a little even more random because I'm having these 16th notes that are straight 16th notes, but then I have above it, I have these triplets, and so that kind of gives a little bit of a offset feel. I think I'm just going to play what I've done, and I can talk a little bit more about the details, but I don't think I'm going to go that far into it because I'm not really that pleased. I'm going to start off with when the choir is singing "To Die." I do like the building up as far as the chromaticism here that kind of adds the tension. But the funny thing is, when we get to this point at 185, this is where I want the climax to end, and I want them to start begging Moses. So I got to fit all that into this without making this a drawn out, long buildup. Um, I do like some of the content here. It's better than the other versions that I had. Trust me. Um, but I'm just trying to incorporate the whole orchestra in this section of it, and I still would like to do a few like lower brass growls, things like that. But there needs to be, when this melody that I start off here with the basses, I'll just play that. I'll play the strings right at that point. And then this melody that's in the lower strings is the musical element I was telling you about that I wanted to be cohesive. And so it repeats. Well, it's like a B section. Now we've modulated up. Tonal center is different. But the idea is that we're building in volume, we're building in tension. But this little melody does go through. It starts off here in the strings, and then I add to it with the contrabassoon here, and then after I bring in the colegno with the strings right here, I have the contrabassoon, bassoon, and then the lower brass all doing the melody. So it's there, but I don't think that that's necessarily going to do a good enough job cutting through all of the other stuff that's going to be happening on top of all this stuff. So I need to make that more present in the mix, and I definitely need to make it a little bit more punchy and not so repetitive. It needs to build. It needs to be also kind of random sounding, but needs to still build and still be that musical element that's going to lead us to this climax. It's going to suddenly end with them begging Moses. So yeah, I do like this. I also don't. There's parts of it I love, parts of it I don't. So, but it's not. I guess it's not terrible by really any means. It's just that it's not really represents kind of what I had in my head, and that's been the hardest part is getting what's in here onto the page and not getting distracted by some of the other things that I hear as it's playing back. Like, oh, I need to focus on that. Oh no, I need to focus on this. So um, I just need to be more disciplined, and I need to allow myself that I can make mistakes. I can do things that I'm not necessarily going to be using, right? Not everything has to be perfect. So, but I still have somewhat of a perfectionist inclinations in my mind. I'm my own worst critic, although I've had a lot of people criticize my music before, so I don't know. So anyway, let's just move on with this next time. By next week, hopefully this will all be resolved, and we can get into the choral parts with that I alluded to earlier this week, with the children of Israel begging Moses to pray to the Lord.